Yo, what's going on YouTube? I am Germ here, and we are now officially in some crazy times for the LCS, for League of Legends esports, and just esports in general. I think like around a week ago I made a video about how the LCS summer split might not happen, it might be canceled, it might be delayed, we didn't really know, but it was all kind of contingent on this, the fact that the NALCS, or the LCS Players Association, was about to have a vote about whether or not they should stage a walkout in protest to the changes that Riot recently implemented, allowing LCS teams to no longer be forced to field an academy team. Obviously, 7 of the 10 LCS teams took full advantage of that. In between spring and summer split, which is just crazy. Tons of coaches, players, staff, everyone lost their jobs, kind of just got kicked to the curb, got put in positions where they weren't going to be able to find new teams or orgs or anything pretty much overnight. Really crazy, really horrible in the short term, but also in the long term, people saying that, hey, this is going to destroy, the foundations of the LCS for not having any, realistic or good kind of academy system or second tier league or ways for new players or even aspiring players to come up, just kind of destroying the LCS from the bottom up. So this vote was going to happen Sunday. Today's Monday. That means the vote happened yesterday. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. The follow-up, that video, kind of popped off. It's one of my best videos as of late. So getting the follow-up to that is obviously a huge story. Either way, whether this vote does or doesn't pass is going to be huge. Here is what the LCS Players Association tweeted out in terms of what they're asking of Riot. Because obviously if they're going to stage a walkout, or if they're, threatening or whatever, they have to want something. You want to have goals. You want to have what changes you're trying to get implemented. You need to, put out publicly what you're asking of Riot to actually make things right or to make you happy or whatever. Here are their demands. They want Riot to institute a Valorant-style promotion and relegation system between the LCS and the NACL. They want Riot to commit to a revenue pool for player salaries of $300K per NACL team per year. They want to allow LCS orgs to partner with affiliates for cost sharing. They want Riot guarantees LCS minimum contracts for the following year for the 5 players who win the LCS Summer Finals each year, which I think is kind of a weird one. They want to institute a 3/5 roster continuity rule to provide players on released NACL rosters first priority in maintaining their slots in the upcoming NACL season if a majority continue to compete together. So those are their main asks. Obviously, I'm sure there's more little small stuff, blah, 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 that they're asking for, but those are the main things that they're looking for in terms of, negotiating with Riot, or at least what they're coming to the table with. I know a lot of people have said, hey, some of these are weird. Some of these, there's no way they're ever going to happen. Some of these are kind of dumb, whatever. We'll get into that in a little bit, but this is at least what they're asking. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But this ultimately led to last night where the vote took place. Now, leading up to the vote, we heard people saying, oh man, the vote's looking good. We heard people say, hey, there's a 50% chance that this vote passes. I know the LCSPA said, hey, if we get 50% of these players or 51% of these players or whatever, we are walking out. We will not start the summer split. So this thing was going to get crazy. I know when I made the video, I didn't really think the vote was going to pass. I thought, hey, it's an interesting idea. Sounds cool. Sounds good. But good luck to you guys. I hope it passes. Obviously, I stand with the players more so than the LCS or with the LCS owners or anything like that. Not to say that the players have the players don't deserve any blame in kind of the downfall or the worsening of the LCS over the last couple of years, but certainly Riot and the LCS deserve their fair share of blame as well, and are arguably, in more impactful positions overall. But here's what they said. The walkout vote has overwhelmingly passed. This is not a decision the LCS players have come to lightly. Countless discussions and debates were had between all LCS players in the week leading to this historic vote. One thing is clear from these conversations. Our players want to play and compete above all else. Joining hands to put competition aside is a statement to the significance and urgency of the issues at hand. And I really do believe that to be true, especially with a ton of imports, a ton of people who, there's obviously a lot of rich LCS players that are kind of set and don't really care that much probably about the money in the short term. There's some players that probably need this money pretty badly and would really love to play and compete in terms of their careers and their financial situation. We stand at this impasse because actions were taken by Riot without prior communication or discussion with the LCS players. The LCSPA sincerely hopes Riot will avert this walkout by joining us in the coming days, have open and transparent discussions so that we can forge collaborative solutions to ensure the best futures for the LCS and the NACL. So, the vote passed. What the heck's going on now? Is the summer split canceled? Is the summer split delayed? What is going on? Well, hold on. First, I want to talk about a couple kind of reaction to this whole thing. Azael was proud of the players for doing what they believe is right, and for the LCSPA trying to make some real change in the scene. Not sure where this goes next, but at the very least, this will force all owners, Riot, and the LCSPA to the table for discussions. We have, Azale also saying, I still believe some of the LCSPA demands will be absolute non-starters with team owners Riot, but on a personal level, I'd love to see promo, relegation, and some of the other changes happen, even if I think it's an absolute pipe dream at this point, which, again, as far as some of the non-starters and crazy ass and stuff, that's just like negotiating 101. You got to bring non-starters to the table. You got to bring crazy ass to the table because eventually you're going to be negotiated down. You're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to give and take. So if you come to the table with exactly, kind of realistic ask or exactly what you want, you're going to get fucked in those negotiations. So I'm kind of surprised that Azale, who, is probably a pretty smart guy, is kind of saying these things publicly or not necessarily understanding that. I don't know. That seems like fairly simple and fairly straightforward negotiating stuff, especially for a guy like him who has been in his fair share of negotiations over his career. Who knows exactly how well those have gone? Kind of makes me wonder a little bit. But we have Mark Z. I wonder if the amount of money saved by team owners killing their academy teams is more than the potential brand damage they are facing as a result. Fan sentiment, viewership, sponsors, and other long-term repercussions. It was reported about $600K per year per academy team. Axing one split means roughly $300K saved per team times 10 teams. $3 million is a rough estimate to gauge if this was worth it. And there is one other thing I wanted to pull up real quick. I don't know why this cam's not full screen, but we have some new news as well from, I believe, Wooloo and Eevee that I didn't have this prepared yet. But this is from Wooloo, who says, he's kind of got a recap of the whole thing. It has been reported that LCS teams will still be obliged to field an LCS roster due to an agreement with the Riot that mandates them to have competitive rosters. Consequently, they will need to sign new players to fulfill this requirement. However, the LCSPA will attempt to mitigate those signings. To give more context, 50% of the current LCS players have been through the NACL. The economical situation of the LCS teams is very difficult, as has been reported. Many are trying to sell the spot, yada, yada, yada. But the biggest thing here being the fact that Riot is still telling teams, hey, we don't really care what's going on with this walkout. You need to have some players. You need to have some rosters for week one. So what the heck is going to happen? Obviously, it's hilarious because 7 of the 10 LCS teams just kicked their academy rosters to the curb, and now all of a sudden they don't have a main roster. Are they really going to be calling up their academy players? Because that would, 1, be fucking hilarious, but 2, that would take a huge amount of balls to be that big of a clown to be like, hey, man, we're trying to save some money. We're kicking you to the curb. And now, hey, a week later, hey, man, you want to come play LCS for a couple weeks? Obviously, any players that do sign on to play with the LCS for the couple of weeks or couple months or however long this walkout's going to take, that's not going to be good for them, I don't think. Yes, people are going to say, oh, you can make some money, or oh, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play in the LCS, blah, 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 blah. But I think you're going to have an overall pretty negative sentiment from players and fans alike, and it'll probably ruin the rest of your career and kind of reputation going forward. So I don't really recommend that anyone takes advantage of this, but it's going to be very, very interesting. Also, I'm very sure that sponsors are going to love the fact that some academy players or even below academy level players are going to be playing in the LCS. And also, I wonder, is Riot going to advertise these as just normal games? You know how they usually do like cinematic videos of like, oh, here's Fudge, here's Blabber, here's whoever. Are they going to do that with like Solo Q, freaking Scrub Lord, whatever? They're going to try to make him look all badass and act like this is still the peak level of competition. I don't know. It all seems very ridiculous. It all seems very hilarious, but yeah, I don't know. The LCS owners, Riot, the LCS in general, just keeps kind of proving their incompetence time and time again. And now, they've really said, hey, fuck the whole academy system. And now it's kind of blowing up in their faces, definitely hurting their reputation with fans and players long term, which again cannot be good for anyone in the short term or the long term. The LCS continues this downward spiral. Again, some of it is for sure to blame on the players and their lack of, high level play over the past couple of years. And, the players have definitely have some sort of blame in this whole situation. But man, the LCS owners have for sure not held up their side of the bargain in terms of, growing and running the LCS properly, and neither has the LCS ownership, management, and things on the Riot side either. This is an absolute shit show. I'm here for the drama and the entertainment of it all, but man, things do not look great for the LCS right now. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it seems like the LCS summer split is still going to go on as planned. We just have no idea who the fuck is going to be playing, what's going to come of this walkout, or when it's going to end, but the players have voted, the players have spoken. At least the main players are not going to be playing, it seems like anytime soon, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Pretty much it was this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. But until then, peace.